Happy Devils Sunday. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast coming to you live from PJ Ryan's across the street from the Prudential Center. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Shorts Guy.
Finally.
You're finally back. You're finally back on the podcast here at PJ Ryan's, located on 35 Edison Place. Beautiful, beautiful establishment. Lots of people filing in before the Devils take on the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight. Let's start with last night. Let's start off on a high note.
Yeah.
Last night's victory over the Washington Capitals. You know,
the only local team to win was us. I'll take that.
Is that true?
Yeah.
And I remember seeing this meme or this Photoshop, the Washington Capitals, and then you see the toilet paper.
Yep,
That's exactly what happened last night. It was a little bit unexpected, but Nico Hischier and Blake Coleman, they absolutely just...
And Louis Domingue.
Who was called up. Mac Black, Mackenzie Blackwood, his teeth, he's hurting.
Yeah.
He needs to take some time off after he valiantly played against the New York Rangers at MSG on Thursday night. But the Devils have recalled Corey Schneider.
Yes, they have.
Up and sent Evan Cormier down. Now, Schneider's not going to be starting tonight. Louis Domingue's going to go tonight, back-to-back on nights.
Yeah, back-to-back on travel nights. I was kind of surprised. I figured maybe Corey would get the start since they pulled him up from Albany, especially with being away last night in Washington and with the travel. But I guess they want to go, I feel like we say this all the time, but go with the hot hand, which since we haven't had a real out-and-out starter, even with Mac Black, it still doesn't feel like there's someone that just owns the net. So they're going to go with Louis Domingue again. You know, 33 saves last night. Played really well, looked really big in the net. I was very happy from what I saw when I was watching. Unfortunately, I was out and I had to watch on my phone, so I saw it on a small screen, but Louis Domingue looked real well. Nico Hischier with a huge game last night, which was great for him and great for us. Not so great for our friend Marty, because Marty had Nico Hischier on his fantasy bench last night.
Oh.
Yeah. And you know whose fault that is? Marty's fault.
Oh. Well, we have a special guest tonight. He's going to come on in a couple minutes. Former Devils captain, Stanley Cup champion Bruce Driver will be coming on in about a few minutes. We'll be talking about last night's game and tonight's game and how things are.
All things Devils.
Yeah, all things
Devils right now.
So you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Let's Go Devils podcast. You can find. And that's David Decker.
Thank you, David Decker.
Our biggest fan. He promotes us any way he can. With a bullhorn in the middle of the street. He has no shame. The only problem I have with David Decker is if he ever puts on these headsets, it takes 45 minutes to clean off after the podcast. But
which pales in comparison to what it takes for him to clean his own head. I know. You told me what it takes. It sounds miserable.
You can find us on Twitter, Periscope, @Let's Go Devils Pod. Our YouTube channel, Let's Go Devils. And on Twitch, if you're a gamer. We only have 14 followers on Twitch. But it doesn't matter. We didn't meet one Twitch follower.
We did.
Twitch.com/Let's Go Devils podcast. So last night, one thing I did notice with the team, when the defense... when they get control of the puck, immediately the Devils forwards are just shooting through the neutral zone, waiting for that outlet pass. Quick transitions, quick passes. Earlier, about a month and a half ago, Ray Shero was saying that this team couldn't make a 5-foot pass. Now, I think they're back to fundamentals. They're playing as a team. After the trade of Taylor Hall, it just seems like, the pressure was off.
Yeah.
The brotherhood... that culture is in. Still a lot of work to be done. What are your thoughts on my observation there?
They have the team to do it. They're young. They're quick. They just have to do it. When a new coach comes in, there's going to be even though it's really not that new of a new to us coach, he, and Nasruddin was the assistant, but now he's able to take what he wants to do in his philosophy and put it into complete practice as the guy that's in charge of everything. So it's a matter of having, it's a new system that it seems he wants to play. He wants to go a little bit faster, a little bit more, like you said, that transition quick out of the zone. And these guys are young and they're quick and they can do it. I mean, Gusev played well the last couple nights as well. So it's not like they, oh, look at this, an angry Storm fan over there. There's two of them. Oh, why so angry?
Are you saying that we're number one? Thank you. Lightning fans, they love us. I love going to Tampa Bay.
You were saying that you enjoyed
Tampa area. You go down to Tampa, and voila, it's a big party. It's a big, gigantic patio right in front of the front doors.
Nice.
You go there, you go to the statue, you see Phil Esposito, and you take a picture with him. But it's always a good time. But
yeah,
it's nothing like up here.
No. But it's always fun to go away and see your team in another building, and where I know we've spoken about potentially going down there later in March, which would be a lot of fun.
No, it's not potential. We are going down there. But I would like to fly in a private jet.
Here it comes.
Our private jet, because we're raising $35 million for our private jet so we could take our fans on the road invading other NHL buildings. And that's why we have this tip jar right there.
To get closer and closer.
We are $34,999,988 away from our goal. We're getting closer and closer and closer. But, yeah, we're definitely going to go for that Saturday, that Florida Panthers game. And then we're going to hightail it over, seeing Nick Villano, Pucks and Pitchforks in Tampa.
I just got a real interesting alert, and I'm just trying to check it out. It was about the Devils and Ray Shero.
Devils and Ray Shero. Something happened.
Yeah. Was it? We've been busy setting up with this. So they parted ways. They officially did, yeah. Ray Shero and the Devils have parted ways.
Have they?
Yeah.
Ray's gone?
Yeah, apparently. So we'll have to look more into that. We've been busy setting up for all this time.
Yeah, we haven't been checking our phones. So Ray Shero's gone.
Yeah. So we're going to have to look more into that. But, wow, that's breaking news now, at least a couple minutes ago. Yeah, Cheryl's all confused over there. We're all confused.
I think we're all confused right now.
Right, we're looking
Bruce,
into this.
Are you confused? Oh, you're always confused?
Good. That's why you fit in with us. Yeah, they agreed to part ways. So Shero is out. Curious who's coming in now.
Wow.
Maybe that's why Nasruddin was not. Maybe that's why Nasruddin was not officially replaced. But the new guy, if this was going to happen, or if this was in the works already, why would they hire a coach and then have a new guy come in and not be happy with whoever that coach is?
That's shocking news.
Yeah, just announced. Yeah.
That's shocking news.
Cool. Well, that changes everything.
Well, it was just a minute ago.
That's what this one came out.
Yeah, this just came out a minute ago. Ray Shero has parted ways with the New Jersey Devils.
Wow. So this is now a breaking news podcast.
Totally.
Wow, that
well, I think we have something to talk about with our good friend Bruce Driver. He's probably doing some research right now at his table.
Wow. Yeah, so this is big news. So now they have
stunning.
So I'm curious. There's no details here. Just says more to come. There's no details on who is taking over the task of GM. And now we have to.
Yeah. Now I got it from Chris Ryan's text message.
Yeah.
Ray Shero is out. Tom Fitzgerald has been named interim GM of the New Jersey Devils. More to come. Breaking news. Ray Shero is out. Tom Fitzgerald is in as interim GM of the New Jersey Devils. That is huge.
That is very big.
That is huge. The future of the New Jersey Devils
is now with an interim.
I will
interim GM.
send my resume over to Joshua Harris immediately. I think I can run this team better now.
You should anyway. Just
I'm
send your
stunned.
resume. I'm stunned too.
I've never been this stunned. In the middle of a live podcast,
Yeah. No, this is
that Ray Shero
is out.
is gone. Tom Fitzgerald in.
So that's so now I'm curious what they're going to go forward with the rest of the season as far as keep Nasruddin or not. I guess everyone's now on a tryout.
I think everybody's on the block now.
Well, yeah.
I think everybody's on the block now, except for, there's a couple untouchables. Nico
there's a couple.
Heischer,
Shero's
Jack
out.
Hughes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Shero's
Ray
out.
Shero is out.
Yeah.
Tom
We're all
Fitzgerald
stunned.
is in. Wow.
Yeah. So now,
The roller coaster of emotions the past 2 months. John Hines is out.
yep.
Taylor Hall gets traded.
Yeah.
And now Ray Shero is out.
See, but the difference with those, with those three different things, I think with John Hines, it was a matter of when. Taylor Hall, it was a matter of when. This is a surprise.
Big surprise.
Yeah.
Well, I guess our regularly scheduled program, 9 p.m. Eastern, the Let's Go Devils podcast. We will go live with this news, with more analysis. We got to get Bruce up here.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I could get Nick
Wanna come up,
Villano
Bruce?
on to talk to us about this
Yeah, see if
breaking
you can get
news.
Nick Villano on.
I'm sure, Bruce, why didn't you tell us that Ray Shero is gone? You were just sitting there the whole time.
Twitter's faster than I am.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to set is Bruce Driver, former Devils captain.
Stanley
and
Cup champion.
Stanley Cup champion, current Devils alumni president.
Shocking, right?
Yeah.
Shocking.
Well, I also saw something about Marty Brodeur is going to be helping out too. So the Devils just announced that. So
Okay.
I guess Marty would take a little bit more of a bigger role with us now.
Wow.
Shocking.
Wow. So Tom Fitzgerald's in as interim. Marty Brodeur is going to shift from more on the business side to more on the hockey side.
Looks like it.
Wow.
So they can help out. So we'll see.
Wow.
New news right here. Who knows?
Wow.
Breaking news,
Breaking news. Ray Shero is out. Tom Fitzgerald is in as interim head coach.
Interim GM.
Oh, yes.
We have Nasruddin as our
Yeah.
We got a lot of
head
interims,
coach.
right?
Yeah.
A lot of interims.
We got a lot of searches.
A lot of tryouts going on right
A
now.
lot of tryouts.
So this is now I guess a team in flux.
A team in flux, but a team that's playing a lot better right now.
Oh, absolutely, they're
playing
playing a lot
heck of
better.
a lot better, which is great.
I was real happy last night watching it was a full team effort. From goaltending on out, that's the team that's what's so frustrating this year. They'll play a game like that, and it'll be like, wow, they've got it, and then they'll play a game like they did on Thursday, and you're just
Yeah,
Jekyll and Hyde season.
Well, the whole key to the game is now it's the league has what it wanted. When they instituted the salary cap, they wanted parity in the league. We have parity in the league, and it's so close that on any given night anybody can beat anybody, and mistakes made on the ice end up in the back of the net.
Yeah.
So, and it's still that's what you're seeing. The Devils still need to show that consistency game in and game out. Not at that point yet, but certainly in the last 10 to 15 games, they played a lot better than earlier in the season, and there's a lot less games where we're seeing a lot of mistakes made. But I agree with you. A couple games ago, a ton of mistakes in the game, paid for it, boom, lose the game. Last night was great. I will say we probably got a few bounces that bounced away from Washington sticks that probably could have ended up in the net. But the bottom line is there were not the egregious turnovers that we had in that stretch of about 20 games there where we were basically passing the puck to the other team and they're scoring goals.
Yeah, and sometimes that's all it takes is that bounce. And you could be playing well, but it could bounce the other way and ruin your night. But sometimes you need that bounce to kind of get that spark going, to change things too.
Yeah, and that's the way teams tend to go on rolls too a little bit. listening to John Hines talk when we were struggling through those times and have a good game and play really well and lose the game. It was a bad bounce here, not getting a bounce offensively to score a goal and bad bounce defensively, and sometimes that's tough to take as a player. But as you said, those experiences going through that and getting the bounce and winning the game, it kind of starts snowballing and things start going in a positive direction. So let's hope their play as of late is going to be a positive sign that we're going to play a lot more consistent down the stretch.
Yeah, and that can all help with building confidence too. You get that confidence, and all of a sudden you're going to play bigger than you did 2-3 games ago. Thank you. Just because you got that bounce.
Yeah, what was Yogi Berra's famous line? Come on, Sam, you must know it, right? 90% of the game was half mental, or was it half of the game was 90% mental? Whatever it was, I don't know. It's true. I mean, it's true for any athlete. Any athlete that's playing with confidence is always going to play better. No question.
I can't. When I think of Yogi Berra, I think about was that Cam Jansen story?
Oh, it may have been.
Yeah, there was a Cam Jansen story. We had him on the podcast, and Cam met Yogi Berra in the showers one day, and they didn't know who he was.
I don't know where we're going with that. Actually, you know what? Yogi Berra and John McMullen were very, very close. So I was always one to show up to the rink early for practice, and when we were at South Mountain Arena, which is now Cody Arena, I'd usually pull in there, and Dr. McMullen and Yogi would be finishing up in the steam room, whatever. They go through a whole workout. Dr. McMullen had his old black lab there. Bubba was his black lab. So, Yogi's a huge Devil fan, and it's not surprising that Cam would have run into him at some point as well.
Yeah, I think I remember that story now. It's from our interview with him.
Yeah, he didn't know who he was. And he's like, what is this old man doing here? Taking a shower like he owned the place.
He was Yogi Berra. He could do whatever he wanted.
Exactly.
He could go wherever he wanted.
So where did the Devils go from here? I mean...
Well, hard to say if Tom Fitzgerald's the guy. I mean, he's been in the organization now for a little bit, working in that assistant GM role and GM of Binghamton. So, as you just mentioned, I mean, this could be a tryout basis and see where it goes. It is very shocking that the timing of this happening now. It's one thing during the season, but this thing was announced, hour and a half before the game time,
Before
right?
a game, yeah.
So it is kind of strange. Maybe we'll hear a little bit more about the decision in the next few days. But, I could tell you from the players' standpoint, nothing's going to change in their heads regardless. That position changing really doesn't change a whole lot what's going on the ice. Unfortunately, certainly for Ray, if it was something that he didn't want to have happen, we don't know. We could speculate all day. Maybe something's going on with Ray and he wanted out. I didn't really read the announcement the Devils had, but
it really wasn't much. They didn't say much there.
No, not really. Just kind of said that Josh Harris had announced that they're going to part ways. But I guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
right? We'll find out.
From the player standpoint, do you ever get so if this change occurs, is it kind of like a new boss, an old boss going out and a new boss coming in? You have to you kind of have to know if this guy's going to like me or not, something like that, or no?
I think from the GM standpoint, the in the now is not really a concern for the players whatsoever. Maybe guys that are at the end of their contract and we're already communicating about new contracts or looking forward to next year. But you also got to remember, you've got Tom Fitzgerald, who's already been on the job and been here and working with the team and been on the bench of the team. So, if I'm a New Jersey Devil player, the fact that Ray's not there, I'd be kind of mystified by it. But it's not going to change my thought process and how I approach the game or thinking about the future or my future with the New Jersey Devils or my future elsewhere. All that stuff tends to work out in the wash as time goes by. So I don't think it's going to have any effect on the players whatsoever.
And I got to think that with Fitzgerald having been behind the bench for a little bit, he kind of has that real down, ground level view of what, potentially he can do or needs to do over the course of the next, couple weeks with the trade deadline coming up too.
Well, absolutely. And like I said, he's been around. I've seen him around. He was at the draft as well. He was at the draft. So he's involved in all the meetings that go on with Ray and all our scouts. So it's not like Tom Fitzgerald's blind to what's going on.
Yeah.
He's he's the one that is responsible for the players in the minor league in Binghamton and getting those guys ready and getting them prepared to play in the NHL. And now he's been around more all year on our bench. So, it makes sense to make him their interim GM right now. And who knows? He may just take over the job.
Yeah. I do like seeing that or hearing that Brodeur will be stepping up a little bit too.
To what degree? Who knows? I mean, that's just what it said. So,
but still, like, I kind of had that assumption that eventually with him coming back and being on the learning the business side and then maybe eventually transitioning over to the hockey side, potentially it was his job at some point down the line.
Very possible it could be.
And this kind of, I guess, baby steps in a sense to learning it as he's going along. Becoming that position now.
Certainly possible. Absolutely. I mean, he was in St. Louis learning that part of the business. So, we're just thankful and grateful to have him back here in New Jersey.
Is a position that, would you ever want this position?
Me? I enjoy doing what I'm doing right now. It's a little stress-free. I don't know. I mean, I would never close the door on anything. It's a pretty difficult position for anybody. You really got to be a pretty sound hockey mind and know every aspect of the business. It's not just the hockey on the ice. It's years and years ago, it used to be a little bit easier, I think, from the business standpoint of it, being a GM. Now with the salary cap and all the money being, all the different ways that the cap works, how revenue sharing works, there's so many factors that go into it. And they hire specialists to help out with trying to figure out how long guys' contracts should be, what they're going to pay player X as opposed to player Y. But, the rules of the game and the movement of players has changed a lot from 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah. It would be interesting. And it's going to be interesting going forward and seeing what happens with the team, what they wind up doing. We're going to have a lot more content now going ahead for us.
I know.
As a podcast, we have a ton more content to put out now.
A lot more to talk about, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Including our team that we're going to play tonight, right?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
We're playing tonight?
Yeah, well.
Well, you and I aren't, but the Devils are, that's for sure.
Yeah, Tampa Bay coming into town. Back-to-backs like this, where you travel from one and come home for another. How was that as a player? Was that tough? Or
it really depends. It depends more on a little bit of a longer stretch period of time. How many days it's been, if it's been 3 and 5 nights, or where you're coming from. I mean, ironically, we're playing Tampa tonight, who played last night, but they were closer to Newark than our guys were. So they had less of a drive or commute or whatever. I'm assuming they just drove up from Philly last night to play. But, yeah, the players at this stage of the game and at this time of the year, we're kind of getting into that time frame when once you hit, not really yet 45 games, but when you hit more like 60 games, that stretch from about 60 to 75 is a little bit tough sometimes, 55 to 75 sometimes in there. That's where the mental part of the game really comes into play. But the back-to-backers, every team has to do it.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. I heard the other day I think it was Rick Tocchet was talking about the Arizona's on this horrific trip right now. So it does certainly affect you depending on where you are and how many games you're playing on the road. But let's face it, look where we are.
Yeah.
We're right here. Like, how many teams are so close to us?
Yeah.
No matter what the schedule is, unless it's, horrific where we're going from LA to Philadelphia and then back to Edmonton or Vancouver and somewhere. If that happens, I can understand it. But, we're blessed with a pretty good schedule.
Yeah,
here.
we luck out being so geographically close to so many teams.
Compared to some of the other teams.
Oh, yeah, some of the West Coast, the West Coast travel is, that just looks like it's miserable. But I still got to assume, though, that even, you on like a regular away game, potentially, after the game you go back to the hotel. But last night I got to assume they flew directly home, which adds a couple hours, and it kind of probably screws up your sleep schedule slightly.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, towards the end of my career, we started flying home a little bit, but, early in my career, we were flying commercials, so we'd always stay over and then fly the next day. So, it certainly affects you a little bit, but as a professional athlete, you get used to the travel. You get used to that situation. Again, talking about the East Coast, West Coast thing, again, I don't remember which team it was approximately a week ago. It was a team out in the Pacific time zone that was playing a 12:30 game, and that's 9:30 in the morning to them normally.
Yeah.
And they played back-to-back afternoon games, so a lot more difficult for those guys than guys that are living on the East Coast, kind of going to the later standpoint of playing later in the day. But I tell you what, Devils played great last night, which is a good sign. Facing a team tonight, I didn't follow their last couple of games. I know they won 9 in a row. I don't know if they're 10 or 11 in a row now, but didn't really see what their result was last night. But 9 in a row, and they're humming now. So
yeah,
it's a team that's a lot of offense. We can't make mistakes tonight.
And you got Louis Domingue going against his former team.
Has it been announced that Louis is playing?
I believe it has. Yeah, we got.
Because I know they called up Schneider today, and some of the assumption was that he was going to step in and play today.
No, he's backing up.
He is going to back up.
According to Chris Ryan at NJ.com, he says he's backing up.
Yeah, that was my assumption was they were going to pull Corey up and put him in net tonight. But, it actually thinking about it more, with Louis Domingue being a former Lightning, it actually makes some sense.
Yeah, there was talk about
against.
there was talk about last night. They were mentioning on the broadcast last night. Kenny and Steve Cangelosi were talking about that he possibly could be facing his old team tonight. And then we were speculating today just now because seeing Schneider being brought back up that it might be put him right in goal right away, being that Louis played last night. But Louis did play well last night. He had some big saves to make here and there, but most of the stuff, he kept his game pretty compact. The one thing I noticed about his game last night was he wasn't, and this is typical of, everybody scouts every team, so Washington's a team that loves to pass the puck east-west, especially in the offensive zone, and he was playing a little deep in his net, which actually helped him a lot. So that,
big time.
So that when if he gets out further out of his crease, it's a mathematical thing. It's geometry, right? You get out too far, you got to go a lot further left to right to make that save. Louis was on top of the crease, but not outside the crease too far, that he was able to get from his left to his right and right to his left. And we all know they're trying to set up Carlson for the one-timer, Ovechkin for the one-timer.
Yeah.
So you saw how our guys did great killing penalties, and the only goal, ironically, we gave up in the power play was a darn scramble that ended up, I think both our defensemen almost ended up in the crease because the puck got behind Louis, and all of a sudden it was
and they dug it out,
wrap around in the net. And I will say there was a little bit of interference on that probably went unnoticed. I want to say it was Oshie was against the crossbar, and I think Sammy Vaught was there. He just kind of grabbed his jersey a little bit so he couldn't react to the puck going in, but I don't think he would have stopped it anyway. But the guys have been doing a great job in the penalty kill too. They were reading Washington and what they wanted to do. Ovi was trying to hide a little bit, and then he ended up back in front of the net. Especially Travis and Coleman last night were phenomenal. You saw the chances they had offensively, Coleman scoring, and then having another breakaway, almost scoring on the same penalty kill was outstanding.
And again, the frustrating part about this team is they did so well last night, and they can do it. Yeah. It's just a matter of becoming more consistent and putting those games together, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row, and just continuing with that. And if they play like that consistently, they can put a run together towards the end of the season, which would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I would love to see that. Maybe push for that, final playoff spot in the East, which would be great. It's just a matter of they got to do that again.
Well, that's pro sports. Every player is striving for, no matter what sport, they're striving for consistency. Coaches are looking for consistency in players so that they know when they put a player out there in a situation, he's going to consistently do the job right and do the job the way the coach wants him to do it. So it's such a big part of sports. Obviously you need players to elevate their game in playoffs. And we've seen time and time again, and over the years, many players do elevate their game in playoffs, and some are better than others. But you need the consistency throughout the year to even get to the playoffs, especially now. Was listening to Carolina's general manager today talking about the playoffs, and he'd like to see more teams in the playoffs because it's so competitive right now. When I first started in the league, there was 21 teams in the league. 16 teams made the playoffs, 5 didn't. Mm-hmm. Now, starting next year, we're going to have 16 teams in, 16 teams out. He came up with an idea that we do a 7-10 best of 3 series. 8 plays 9, and then the winners are going to play 1 and 2, which really kind of helps some of those teams that are the bubble teams now get in. And he also said that it will help with the competition down the stretch because the teams that are 1 and 2 are going to kind of play a team that's tired because they're going to play a best of 3 series. He said in the GM meetings he would be all for adding more teams in the playoffs. For the players themselves, difficult for those 4 teams because you're playing an extra at least couple of games if you're going to make it to the finals. Two for sure if you're going to make it to the finals.
Yeah.
But it's something the league should probably look at to add more teams. It's revenue generating for the clubs to make the playoffs. So if they could drive revenues up that way, I'd be all for it. Whether the actual players would want it or not, the players would have to vote on it too. But I'd like it because if I'm on a team that's, in that 8, 7, 8, 9, 10
region,
spot, I got a better chance of making it. And you're going to see more wars down the stretch trying to make that last spot, right? And the top 2 teams trying to stay on top. So you'll see much more competition towards the end and not teams kind of mailing it at the end because they're secure in their position.
So we'll be looking more late June for a Stanley Cup final, like in '95.
Well, I don't think it really take that much longer. I mean, honestly,
It would at least another week.
Yeah, I mean, a 2 to 3 series is going to be another week.
Yeah.
At least another week. It's something that they'd have to look at and vote on, obviously. And again, from the standpoint of the teams, you'd have teams that would kind of have some time off there.
Mm-hmm.
Help some teams that have injuries going into the playoffs for sure, but other teams are not going to be as fresh. It still was just thrown out there by one general manager.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting idea.
But to make it more competitive down the stretch, allow more teams to make it, I kind of like the idea. I really do.
No,
I really do.
Definitely an interesting idea to add a couple more teams, and in that short, what is that? I think baseball or basketball does a short series like that, which would be interesting.
One
to
game.
see.
But in hockey, the thing is, I don't want to do one game.
No, one game is too tough. There's
two out of three, I think would be good.
Yeah, because
they could always cut back in the first round after that too. They could go back to 3 to 5. I mean, years and years ago, it wasn't always 7-game series to get to the Stanley Cup. So they could restructure everything and say they're going to have 10 teams make it. First series is going to be 2 out of 3. Next series is going to be 3 out of 5. Then 4, then 4 to 7, 4 to 7. They keep going that way. They can cut back that way and keep the length of the season the same. We'll see.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
It's definitely an interesting concept.
Not the worst thing to have a 3 out of 5 if you're going to add a 2 out of 3 early, right?
Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting concept, and like you said, it would bring more teams in. So, I mean, obviously that'll be well down the line. Probably not until another CBA at least. So we'll see. So, but Lightning coming in tonight. What are you as the player hearing in the locker room? Just is it do what you did last night, or do similar to last night, but here's what the Lightning do, here's what you change?
You know what? I think you're looking at very similar teams that can explode offensively. A lot of star power, a lot of skill level out there. So I honestly don't think they changed a thing.
Okay.
The Lightning have been a little bit of a mystery all year. Everybody knows the story last year. Had a tremendous season. And boom, they're out of the playoffs, which can happen, and that's just the sport of hockey.
Yeah, it is.
That's just the way it is. And have had their struggles throughout the year. But again, now they're playing really, really well. So not being around the team, obviously, and not seeing day-to-day operations, the only people that know what's going on are the players inside that locker room. So looks like they've got things going pretty well right now. We got to play the same way we played last night, if not better, to beat them tonight.
Yeah, and Louis Domingue's got to show up like he did last night.
Yeah.
And you got to think he's extra amped up because these are all his former buddies that he used to share that room with.
Yeah, for sure.
And now he's going against them, and he probably wants nothing more than to shut them all out as best he can.
But the best thing for a goalie is to be not too amped up.
Yes, I agree.
He's got to stay.
Agree.
He was very calm last night in the way he played. When goalies get amped up and they're moving and they get out of position too far, it's just disaster sets in. So as much as he's going to be excited to be playing against his former team, he needs to still play that calm game like he did last night. I thought he did a terrific job last night.
And I'm sure he's gotten a couple text messages today saying,
We're coming for you. We're coming for you. Yeah, absolutely.
What do you got, Sam?
Nick Villano is going to...
Twitter update? You got a Twitter update? What's going on, Sam? Anything else happen?
Nick Villano's calling in?
Yeah, Nick Villano's going to call in at 6:30.
Okay, we'll talk to Nick.
Give his analysis on that. I want to... Trying to
what are you trying
get
to figure
to
out?
it. Well, there was this... The Devils ownership released a statement just shortly, about 5-10 minutes ago. I love reading these press releases because they're very
vague
and dry. But I like to comment on it, and speculate. Sometimes I like to speculate what they really mean.
All right, let's hear it, Sam. Read between the lines for us.
From Josh Harris and David Blitzer. Yep. The New Jersey Devils and general manager Ray Shero have agreed to part ways effective immediately. That effective immediately sounds really bad, but I don't know. Ray is a talented hockey executive, and I'm confident he will have great success in the future. However, Ray and I are in agreement that the Devils need to move in a different direction, and that this change is in the best interest of the team. So maybe there's some philosophical differences where this team needs to be.
I don't know.
Hard to say.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Oh, look at this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Schwinn.
Thank you.
Hey.
The
You get a
Lightning
seat.
fans donate. Nice.
You get a seat on that private jet to Tampa. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice.
He's actually one of my teammates.
Oh boy. Well, you blew it. You blew it. You could have sold it to everybody.
Whatever.
We are very optimistic about our future and have a lot of talent both on and off the ice. Tom Fitzgerald will serve as interim GM, and he will receive support from Martin Brodeur, who will serve as an advisor to and on hockey operations. Our organization remains deeply committed to creating a sustainably winning franchise. Our fans deserve nothing but the best hockey. We thank them for their continued support as we work towards our goals.
Well, I agree with that last part. That's for sure. That's true. That's not vague.
I wish I had the skinny and what really went
I
on.
know.
Don't
We
we
can
all?
only, I wish, sometimes I wish I was like, a bug in the room.
Just to hear what happened.
Just listening what's going on.
I'm curious how long this has been in the works. That's also something,
But effective
If-
immediately.
yeah, like you almost have to think like, did they just come in today and be like, that's it, we've had enough? Like, especially coming off of a big win like last night.
Yeah.
That's
It is very much out of the blue.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly never heard anything.
I would expect a decision like this out of the blue, maybe this past Friday, after what happened at MSG.
Yeah.
Like that would make more sense than after a 5-1 drubbing of Washington.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it gives us more content, so we're just gonna have to dive further into this later on.
Could have been in the works after Friday. It was a decision might have been made, and it
Yeah.
just delayed with the team away. Who knows?
I mean, the one firing was bad in Dallas, the coach. I mean, it was, when you read that press release, you're like, wow. Because normally it's pretty neutral. It's, you don't want to burn any bridges, but that one was just like, boom, very straightforward. But I'm sure Ray Shero would find a job.
Oh yeah, no, he'll definitely find a job. It's not here.
He's not here.
And then now our question becomes, who's going to take over? What's it going to be permanent? And like we were talking about earlier, we mentioned a couple times, is this Fitzgerald's tryout? Is this Brodeur's tryout? Is there someone else that they're looking at? Or are they going to wait till, the summertime when the other firings generally occur and see who's available? Do they go with the best available person out on the market, or do they stay in-house? And then that person will then go have the task of, do you keep Nasruddin? Do you find, who's your coach?
Yeah.
A
A lot of decisions to be made here.
Which also makes me kind of wonder, if this was in the works, maybe that's why Nasruddin has been the coach and not let Shero bring someone in. It's
Certainly possible.
it's possible. It's been a while, so it's the chances are kind of slight. But we're also looking for answers, and we'll look for any any little thing we can.
When the news gets dropped on you 3 minutes before you guys go on, it's just like,
While
what?
we're on.
What? What just happened?
Well, that one guy is like, what, you don't know? It's like,
no, we didn't.
No, we didn't know.
And then apparently it was just coming out or whatever.
Yeah, and as soon as I'm like refreshing my phone, it's still not there, and then bam, it's there.
Yeah.
Well, when you guys yelled out to me, am I looking for it? It wasn't on my. There was no Twitter feed for the Devils then, and then I found it somewhere else, went back, and boom, there it was. So I saw it somewhere else. I think it was, I don't know, it was Darren Drager or somebody else, one of the other NHL guys up in Canada, which they usually hear before we do anything.
Oh, yeah. Either way, Shero was out.
Yeah. Shocking.
Yeah. But
shocking.
Got to focus on today. Got to focus on Tampa.
Again, this, that happening, it's unfortunate for Ray and his family and everything there. But from the player's standpoint, they're dead straight ahead. That situation is not going to affect the players.
Do you think the players are
maybe after the season's over? Like I said, if they were dealing with Ray on a contract, or their agent was dealing with Ray already, or they knew Ray really liked them, but that's for another day. That's not going to affect how the team's playing now.
So when we all found out that news, by that point, all the players were already here doing their pregame ritual. Do you think they were even told, or do you think that's something maybe that they knew prior?
Oh, they're going to find out.
Or they'll just
it's not like guys don't have phones. It's not like it's not like the youth kids. We tell the youth kids put the phones away once the game, when you're going in to talk to them before the game.
And they never.
And I know some organizations take the phones away from the kids when the coach goes in before the game, so they can't be on their phone. I can tell you right now, the players knew pretty much as fast as we knew right here.
But do you think they were told, or do you think they were going to wait on?
It's tough to say. My gut would hope that they were told ahead of time that was going to happen. They may have called a meeting. What time was it we found out? Like 5?
That's
40?
5:45. 5:45. 5:45.
The players generally in a game like that. I mean, if you're early in the game, I saw a couple of players come in when I came over here, and that's early. So I was here a little after 4. I was always 3 hours before a game, so that's about right when the game's 7 o'clock. I would say the players probably have a meeting. They have a meeting at 5 o'clock. So that would have been the opportunity to come in and
say, tell the players
this is happening. Who would have done that? President, maybe? Jake Reynolds? I don't know. I don't think it would have been the owner being delivering that message, but maybe Jake Reynolds, the president, or Hugh Weber, maybe, if he was around. Potentially, the guy that works with their communication department that travels with the team, Pete Albeats, he's traveling with the team all the time, potentially him. I don't know. I'll probably find out at some point.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Just ask the great Ken Danikel. He'll know. Let's go, Devils! Dano's big head on that screen.
Oh, man. He does bleed this team, that's for sure. And that comes out on TV all the time. But that's what you want for that position he's in.
I still laugh in between periods seeing Chico and Patty and Dano run around the rink, and then NJ plasters one of them every time. I just laugh. Those poor guys running around the rink. I'm just like, I wouldn't want to be them.
My guess is I would hope would assume it's an intern.
Well, they're all, those would be all staff that have workman's comp.
Yeah.
All people that do work for the organization. You certainly want to see that happen too. Although the people that were running around those bubbles, those were...
Yeah, you signed a waiver, though.
Yeah, I signed a waiver for that. Yeah, exactly. Sign a waiver. Sign your life away, right?
Yeah, right. Turn your mic on.
I'm still stunned.
I think we all are.
And now my brain is going all over the place. Like,
you're
what
just
actually
thinking,
happened?
What happened?
What happened?
Well, it's only human nature to think that, right?
Yeah.
Especially the timing of it. Like you said, I mean, we just played last night, boom, and he's gone at 5:45 or 5:40, right, on a game night when we played last night. Why now?
Yeah.
Why not yesterday? Why not Friday night? Why not wait one more day? What was so imminent for it to be announced right now? It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Tough to answer. Maybe we'll find out someday, but it's not going to be before the game.
No, it's not going to be today. It's not going to be that's for sure.
Sam, you're going to be on your phone all night trying to find stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna call my sources.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's got sources. Just depending upon who.
I can tell you, I'm not a source. So.
But you are a friend of the podcast. So
I am a friend of the podcast, and I'm a big proponent, and any player should be doing this. I'm trying to get more guys in.
And we appreciate that.
Oh, really appreciate it.
You guys finally got Colin White on here, and I was with him probably 3 days out. I was with Colin and Grant 3 days after you. He goes, "That was so great." I said, "Colin, I've been bugging you for like 3 months. Please, these guys are great guys. You're going to love it." He goes, oh, I'd much rather do that than go to the viewing parties. He said, that podcast was awesome. He goes, nice to go to the viewing parties, but it was so much fun.
Yeah, no, he was great. He was great to talk to, and he just had story after story to that.
He's a good man.
He's
a good man.
He's still huge.
He's
a massive human being.
He's huge, and he was bigger,
Oh my
bigger,
gosh.
meaning out of shape bigger.
Okay.
About a year and a half ago. He
Okay.
was up there in weight. He dropped a lot. He decided to commit himself to get back, not in playing shape, but he started working
in
out.
shape.
Well, he just started working out a lot more too.
Okay.
So, but he's considerably younger than I am. So, unfortunately, you guys won't know that until you get a little bit older how hard it is to stay, stay nice and lean and fit and muscular and all that fun stuff. So, he's a good man, though.
Yeah, no,
He's
he
a good man.
definitely was a real good dude to meet, and
I'm sure he'd love to be back on the show.
we'll have him back anytime.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
He's a good man.
I want to be back on the show.
Yeah, we had a lot of comments about his voice from some of our female listeners.
Did he say how it got like that?
No.
No.
Well, you have to ask him. I'm not going to spoil it.
All right, we'll ask him. We'll have to
Say,
ask
was your
him.
voice always like that? What happened? Just ask him that question. See what he says.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm just going to put that right in my pocket right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Another fan.
Another dollar.
Another dollar towards our.
You guys been saying that Jack's back tonight, no? Did you
Yeah,
see that?
Jack is back tonight.
Well, we had some other news tonight.
Is that-
I mean,
that's some other frivolous news to talk about?
yeah, I mean,
Well, it'll be great to see Jack back on the ice.
Yeah.
I really didn't hear anything what was going on. They said upper body injury, but
That's the new NHL. They don't.
yeah, I mean, we our alumni suite is essentially above where the players that aren't playing are sitting, and I was kind of had to go into a couple of our corporate sponsor suites, and they go, oh, there's Jack Hughes sitting there watching the game. And it's like they were asking me, is he scratched? I go, they're not going to scratch him. There's obviously something going on, but I never did hear exactly what happened. So it's just good to see him back.
Yeah.
Good to see him back.
And I'm sure he's happy to be back, just to be playing again.
Oh,
and-
yeah. Well, you know what? The kid's got a tremendous passion for the game. You say he's so slight and so small and not very strong, but he's incredibly elusive out there. If you just watch his footwork, he can avoid contact and putting himself in dangerous situations, but he'll go to the hard areas to score goals. So he's only going to get better. I mean, you look at Nico, how well Nico's playing this year, and everybody's like, Nico's okay. And he is playing tremendous hockey right now, and he's got, doesn't look bigger, but he's gotten a lot stronger from last year to this year, and it's showing in his play.
And they've had a lot of confidence in Jack right from the very beginning, throwing him out. And I think it was the first shootout we had in the season, and he was one of the shooters.
Yeah, well,
that's a lot of confidence to have.
Yeah, but again, those skill situations for him, that's not a difficult thing. He's done that at the U.S. level, in the World Junior Championships, and it's nothing for him to be a part of that. The NHL game is a step faster.
Oh yeah.
Guys are way stronger, so there's that adjustment to a young player that's 18 years old and the size that he is. I mean, he's going to get bigger and stronger in the next few years and become a better player as well. I mean, like I said, you look at Nico Hischier from this year to last year, and just maybe a little bit of it you can say is that Taylor Hall's no longer with us now, and Nico Hischier's taken on a bigger role, which he has. But you already saw signs of Nico's complete game and how well he's playing the game. Talking to Ken Danico probably a month ago, and he wouldn't even mind me saying this, but he was already bringing comparisons to Bergeron in Boston. He's obviously not there yet.
Yeah, obviously.
But, you watch Nico, how competitive he is on faceoffs, how his stick position is, how he's always positioning himself defensively in the zone, and he's transitioning to offense very quickly, and he can score that big goal for us, and he's done it great lately.
Yeah, and hearing all that and seeing what he can do, it helps make last season feel slightly better, and then knowing that he was the right guy to go with, because there was a lot of debate about who should be number one. And in the past, you look at some guys that were drafted number one that people thought, oh, these guys are guaranteed, and then they're a bust.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're still gonna be talking about these comparisons.
Oh yeah.
That Jack's year, this year with him and Kakko, and the same thing Same thing with Nico's draft year as well. We're still going to hear the comparisons. I mean, Nico's been obviously more healthy than the other guys, so Philly would like to have would have liked to have had their player play a complete season last year and play more consistent in that this year as well. But we'll be comparing these 4 guys for years to come.
But I think more so with Nico, or Jack and Kako, because direct rivals.
Yep.
They're 1 and 2 brought right in.
Yep.
Nick?
Well, our most direct rivals, yes.
Yes,
So
our most direct.
We can't say the Flyers aren't our rivals. They are.
No, they're a rival,
Right.
but I see them as the Rangers as our more direct rival.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. No question.
So, and that's always going to be.
We have our guest.
Yes, we have Nick Villano coming from Tampa, Florida, on the Bobby's
Not
Auto
a
Care
Tampa
hotline.
fan.
Not a Tampa fan, but the editor-in-chief of Pucks and Pitchforks. Nick, you're on the Bobby's Auto Care hotline. Are you shocked as we are?
Sam, I don't have a lot of words. Unfortunately, I'm in the words business, so I'm going to put them together for you, I guess.
Nick, it's Shorts Guy. We were at a loss of words when we heard this. We were just completely stunned, and we could not find the words live in front of a crowd of people. At least you're on the phone, and you know, with a lack of words, you can hide behind the phone. We couldn't.
Yeah, if I'm making a dumb look on my face, nobody's going to see that. So at least I got that going for me.
Oh, we made dumb looks on our faces, and people saw. That's the problem. But that's kind of every day, too, so.
So I'm going to, quickly get right into what I'm thinking is happening. At first, obviously, I had a lot of worries based on everything that's happened in the NHL this year and all these coaches that got fired for misconduct and things like that. So based on what I heard from Josh Harris, I've only caught bits and pieces of it, but it doesn't sound like that's the case. So that's good. That's good. At least it's all performance-based, so it's, not going to put a black cloud over the franchise as a whole. Obviously, the timing doesn't make a lot of sense. The Devils are playing better. But the reason why the timing makes sense on the whole is that the Devils have 2 huge decisions to make within the next few months.
Yeah.
A, it's the head coach. B, it's the trade deadline. And I think that what probably happened is you had a major disagreement between ownership and the general manager on what they want to do with both of those things. Because I think you could overcome one disagreement on those, but both changes how the franchise is going to go forward. So, for example, I tweeted out just a minute ago, there's a possibility that, and this is just speculation, I don't have inside info on this particular thing, I haven't worked those things yet, but there's a possibility that maybe one side wanted Elaine Nasruddin to stay on as coach because the team has played a lot better under him, and the other side wanted a bigger name, somebody more flashy, somebody who's going to, you get a guarantee of what you're going to get, especially with guys like Laviolette and Babcock on the market right now. And then with the trade deadline, there's rumors right now that they're negotiating. How legitimate these rumors are, but maybe one side was gung-ho, or, maybe Ray was gung-ho to trade Sammy Vatanen and build off his value. And maybe Josh Harris just eventually was like, I don't want to keep building up value when I have these good players. I want to keep good players. I want to pay good players. And that, they had a disagreement on which players are going to stay and which players are going to bring in assets. So I think those 2 disagreements seem to be why they're doing this on this date. And they didn't really care that there was a game coming up tonight because, they fired John Hines right before the game, and that impacts the day-to-day operations a lot more than firing a general manager.
Well, that's why you come to PJ Ryan's when we do these live podcasts, because there are a lot of changes that happens. Like today,
Yeah.
when John Hines, got fired, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have a pregame. That's the thing. The other thing I just want everybody to kind of think about is the 76ers had a very similar rebuild, and they were on a very similar timeline, but they eventually turned it around, and now the 76ers are one of the powerhouse teams of the NBA. They have star power. They're one of the most fun teams to watch. They get big names at the trade deadline instead of trading big names at the trade deadline. So maybe, Harris and Blitzer are seeing their other assets thrive under their regime and thinking, and they don't know hockey. So they're not, they're not hockey people. They said that when they came in here. When they came in here, they said, we're giving the keys to Lou. And then when Lou left, they did the same thing with Ray. So maybe they don't understand that basketball, you need 2 or 3 stars, and then, like, you're golden. In hockey, you need 5 to 6, and then 6, there's players who can play really well. But maybe they have a truncated because they're thinking in basketball terms, and they see their 76ers did this situation in a similar amount of time, and now they're world beaters.
Very, very good point. I mean, there are similarities, but there are differences. I mean, the previous GM with the 76ers was pretty much an analytics guy. Was it Sam Hinkie? I forgot his name. And it basically took the Colangelo.
It was Colangelo, wasn't it?
Well, before that, before Colangelo.
Oh, yeah.
It was some guy, some analytics guy that they brought in, and it was trust the process. Then he gets fired. Colangelo's came in, which have a lot of NBA experience, and maybe but Ray Shero comes from a great pedigree, so it's a little different in that aspect. And you're right, Nick. Basketball, you just need 2 or 3 guys that can eat up most of the minutes. Hockey, completely different story. But it's good to know that Martin Brodeur is assisting Tom Fitzgerald from a fan standpoint, that someone that, is beloved in New Jersey, that's over, assisting, in the process. But it looks like that they are, sorry, somebody just tipped the tip jar, and we get a little excited and break concentration.
I'm going to take credit for that.
With your wonderful analysis.
I'm just saying.
Well, we have an insider.
Timing is everything.
Yeah, we have an insider here. We have Bruce Driver sitting right next to us. Do you want to ask Bruce any questions?
Well, I'm curious. Bruce has seen it all. He's seen, I'd have to look at timelines, but Lou Lamoriello was known for, throwing things aloof right before the Stanley Cup playoffs and then winning cups. Do you think that this will actually help the team turn around their season and maybe even move up in the standings, or do you think this is just putting a nuclear bomb on things and just starting over?
Nick, I think it's really hard to say. We were just sitting here talking earlier that it's really not going to affect the players tonight whatsoever. The players are focused on the task at hand. Certainly the coaching change done at the last minute and bringing a new coach in, that has a huge effect on the players of the team, and they're all wondering what's going on. How's the coach going to coach us today? But, being that it's a general manager, it's not going to affect anything the way the guys play. I don't think even down the stretch. Guys whose their agents may have had a relationship with Ray already and talked either about extensions in their deal or upcoming signings that they want to look at, or guys that are going to be free agents as well. That standpoint, I don't think it's going to bother the players right now at this point. But moving forward as an organization, certainly the reason for the podcast and everybody and what you do, Nick, is all out there, and all you guys are always trying to get the scoop and speculate and wonder why this was done, what was the timing of this. I'm as blown away as you are as the timing of when this occurred. Not that it's right or wrong, and it's done, and the Devils are going to move on from this standpoint. Maybe it was something that was already in the works, a couple days ago or a few weeks ago. We don't know. Maybe we'll find out sometime. But you talked about Lou and Lou pulling strings. Lou really. He would change coaches depending on the circumstance and whether he felt that the coach was kind of losing the team a little bit and the players weren't responding to the coach. And certainly he brought players in, and he brought the right players in at the right time to win championships. I was very, very fortunate to play under Lou, learned an awful lot from him. I consider him a friend to this day. And I think he took a lot of negative press and feedback from a lot of people thinking that he was a strict guy. But I can tell you, as a player who played for Lou, there was no distractions. You went out and did what you were supposed to do, went out and played hockey. and everything was kind of taken care of. You didn't have a care in the world about when you went out and played hockey. As long as you did your job, everything was fine. So with this move, we have two interim situations right now, an interim GM and interim coach. But Nick, you bring up some pretty valid points when you do think about it. Whether you're right or wrong, I think we'll find out. But, you do look at Ray coming from the Pittsburgh organization. John Hines was from the organization. Hazardy was from the organization. So, maybe you're right on this. Maybe you're right. There's a little philosophical difference between the owners and the GM. But, that's between them, and that's behind closed doors. I guess we will find out what the future lies for the Devils. But I just know from the standpoint of the players right now, they can't afford to concern themselves with something like this happening. Again, I don't think it's going to affect them as much as it affected having a new coach come in. But it was probably good that you have a stabilizing factor in both. The coach that's coaching them now was already there, and the fact that Tom Fitzgerald's been working with a lot of the players in the Binghamton organization to bring those players along to the next level. And not only that, he was behind the bench of the players this year for a spell. So those are good things for the players. I guess time will tell what goes on from here, and we're probably not going to know until the season's over.
Well, I guess the Pittsburgh method didn't work in New Jersey.
Undetermined.
Well, let me ask. I mean, the good news about that is right after Ray left, they won 2 Stanley Cups, so that was nice. But I just want to ask Bruce one more thing before I leave. And because you're biased, and because you're friends with Lou, I feel like I can ask you this. Did the Devils make a mistake letting Lou go and bringing in Ray? Would they have been better off just keeping Lou?
That's I'm gonna ride the fence on that because it's really, really tough as a player or an observer on the outside to realize what's going on a day-to-day basis. And we all know the history of the original owners and how they felt about Lou and how close, and they brought Lou in essentially. To replace Max McNabb in '87, and Lou did a tremendous job of building a franchise here. But like everything in life, times change and things change. And I think as an organization, we're looking at the Devils. A lot of people say how the players are more approachable now. The players are doing a lot of things outside the game. We did in my day and age, but I can certainly say, like I was just talking to the guys right here, they're looking at me. They're already on the air asking me to get the Twitter feed and find out what's going on. And I'm going, well, when I was in the league, my phone did not take pictures. So, as a player that played in that era, we kind of did a lot of things outside of hockey that the players today can't do. They just can't put themselves and subject themselves to be in a situation where fans can either take a video of them, take a picture of them, be out in areas where, out in bars and stuff like that, like we did and the game has changed. So from the standpoint of the change for the Devils and changing from Lou to Ray, that decision was made, and Lou landed in Toronto, and I thought did a pretty good job there. And a similar situation happened there, right? I mean, they brought Shanahan in and then had a younger guy sing in the wings, and Lou's off now to the island and doing the same thing there. I guess we'll see who lands the position. I don't know that it was the wrong decision to change GMs at that time. I just think that from the organization standpoint, we're always in a battle with our rivals across the river for fans. And it seems as though, and it's not just with Ray coming in, but with new ownership coming in, the way things are kind of working with regard to the building and engaging the fans more and engaging the players more. There's give and take, right? As an organization, you need that. Do the players need that distraction? Probably not, but I think we all realize that sports today is a lot different than it was 20 and 30 years ago, where players are out there on Twitter and Instagram and all the social media, where some of the old guys would just be cringing at all that stuff. And I'm sure Lou's, I don't know, I've never had a conversation with Lou.
I cringe at some of it.
But I've honestly never had a conversation with Lou on how he feels with regard to, social media and what the players. I'm sure the Islander players are allowed to do it, but
one day we'll have him on. We'll ask him.
We'll have Lou on.
Yeah,
one day.
we'll have Lou on.
He won't be involved in an NHL team when you have him on. I don't think he would do that, but.
All right, guys. I just wanted to come on real quick. I just wanted to give you a quick piece of my mind and ask Bruce a couple questions. But you guys, I'm going to go enjoy the game. You guys enjoy the game, and you know we'll sleep on this and figure out what this whole new world is tomorrow.
All right, great. Well, thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, guys.
That's Nick Villano, Pucks and Pitchforks blog, coming in live from Tampa.
Yeah.
We'll be live 9 p.m. Eastern
Tonight. Yep.
tonight.
Well, you will. I have to coach.
Yeah, and
Question: Are you staying here, Sam?
no, we have no internet.
Oh, you have no internet.
We have no internet here. It didn't work about an hour ago,
Yeah.
so we're on a pre-recording right now. But
Pre-recording breaking news.
we're going back to this.
Pre-recording breaking news. So by the time everybody hears it, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh, well. We were
Well,
on when it came off, so.
yeah.
Those that were here heard it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we.
Pretty much live.
Yep. And everyone's filtered into the game.
Yeah, we lost everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, the Devils.
Hey, we're still talking over here.
The Devils play. The Devils do start playing in about 10 minutes, so I don't blame them all for being inside.
Yeah, I don't blame him either.
Time to
Good
go
for
in.
them.
Bruce, thanks for coming on,
Yeah, thank
coming
you.
out to PJ Ryan's.
Pretty crazy hour or so, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Ray Shero parted ways. Marty Berdour's assisting.
Yep. Fitzgerald
Joshua,
is intern.
we actually heard from the owner.
Yeah.
It's rare to hear from Josh Harris.
Right, huh?
It's usually a statement and that's it. But lots of things going on. We'll be back 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. Let's Go Devils podcast. Scotty, myself, and Beer Baron will be running the podcast. It's going to probably be a 2-hour special.
Probably.
Yep, that's it. Thank you for all coming out.
Cool.
PJ
Bruce,
Ryan.
thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Yes, and let's go Devils.
Yep.
Let's go Devils.
Till next time, let's go Devils.